Welcome back to the channel, folks. We're today, the 10th of July 2026, in the summer of season 2, where the UK is experiencing the second of a series of heat waves. The plant which we are looking at today, with the rather strange sounding Latin name, is Meadowsweet, or Philipendula ulmaria, which is a plant in the family Rosaceae, or put simply, the rose family. So, before we look at some field footage, let's take a systematic fly through of some static images to become familiar with the plant. In this slide we see the wispy, creamy white inflorescences of the flower head. As we take a closer look, using a magnifying loupe, the floristic characteristics are revealed to contain each separate little flowers of 5 petals and a multitude of stamens. And at the back of those petals we have 5 sepals which are downy and recurve backwards. This compilation slide reveals the 5 sepals at the back of the flower, which are downy and point backwards. The following slides illustrate the rigid, hairless, upright stem and the stipules where the leaflets adjoin the stem, a characteristic of the family Rosaceae. The following slides show the basal leaf structure consisting of 3 paired leaflets. The first slide shows the adaxil or upper surface, which is dark green, and this slide shows the lower surface or abaxal surface, which is pale green. The distinct leaf margins are coarsely toothed with finer margins between. And finally, later in the season, a shot of the small fruits, circa 2mm, which are twisted and spiralled and each contain 2 seeds. Okay folks, welcome back to the office, where today we look at another episode in field botany. Today being the 10th of July 2026 in season 2 of this very hot summer, where the UK is experiencing its second heat wave. So we've just arrived in the cool to Fulham. The plant of today is known as Meadowsweet, or Philipendula ulmaria, which is a plant in the family Rosaceae, or the rose family. And if you haven't seen our 5-minute family episodes, I urge you to have a look, as it will explain many of the features and characteristics which we will see in this plant. Meadowsweet is a pleasantly fragrant plant of approximately 60 to 120 centimeters high. It flowers between July and September, and it consists of creamy white flowers at its terminal, wispy creamy white flowers which were pleasantly fragrant. The plant itself is found on damp soil, so therefore we will see this plant in marshes, bogs, fens and damp meadows. And we are not disappointed today, because we find it on the confines of an aquatic marginal of an urban pond, where approximately last month we filmed the yellow flag iris, which you can see the leaves behind me. Just as a point of reference, other plants which are flowering at this time include Agrimony, Agremonia eupateria. So the plant itself has a number of common vernacular names, notably meadowsweet, meadwort, bridewort and queen and pride of the meadow, as well as dolof. So those are the common names. Some of its uses or properties: it contains the active principle known as Salyclic Acid, which is aspirin. And traditionally, in many countries, It is used in the preparation of alcoholic drinks such as spirits, meads and ales. So that's a brief background and introduction to the plant and its habitat. Let's take a look at the plant in further detail. In today's episode, we conveniently found the plant on the aquatic margins of an urban pond. Okay folks, I'm going to attempt to do a quick head to toe of the plant off the top of my head. The plant itself begins its journey from the soil and fibrous root and rhizome, which is pinky red. It gives rise to a fairly rigid, upright, hairless stem, which by and large does not branch until it reaches the upper flower heads, where it may divide, as you can see. Along the stem there are alternate leaflets which have a stipule at the base, a characteristic of the family Rosaceae, and I urge you to look at the 5-minute family series for these characteristics, which will explain such features. The typical basal leaf form is 1 to 3 paired leaflets and a terminal set of leaflets which are trifoliate in appearance, and as we move up from the mid leaves to the upper leaves, the plant will present in this form here. Of course the lower leaves will have these 3 pairs of leaflets. So that is the root, stem and leaves of the meadowsweet. On the front of the leaf it is a darker green, as you can see, hopefully you can see, and on the back it's a greyish glaucous green on the back. The leaf margins are toothed, and if we look closer they become even more finely toothed as we examine them. So those are the leaves. As we move up the plant to the flower heads, you can see the fragrant creamy white flower, which is very pleasant in terms of fragrance. And if we look at the flower itself, it consists of 5 oval petals between 0.8 and 1 centimetres in diameter. If we peer underneath the flower, we can see that there are 5 sepals, which are triangular, downy and point downwards. So 5 sepals recurved backwards, typical of the family Rosaceae. If we look into each flower in the overall inflorescence, we can see that it contains 20 to 40 stamens, very typical of the Rosaceae if you cast your mind back to hawthorn and blackthorn. It consists of 1 stigma, giving rise to 6 ovaries, which in turn forms a fruit at the end of the season, which is about 2 millimeters or so, and forms 6 of those fruits, which will twist around each other. Those fruits contain the seed, and those seeds are not released, they remain on the plant and are shaken off. So that is a brief overview of the vegetative and floristic characteristics of meadowsweet Philipendula ulmaria, a plant in the family Rosaceae. So please have a look at our 5-minute family. So let's just have a look at the floristics of the plant. These inflorescences consist overall in the small flower heads of about 0.8 to 1 centimetres in diameter. Each little flower that the inflorescence is made up from consists of 5 petals. Now, if we look within the flower, or beneath the flower we should say, what we can see are 5 sepals, which are pointed, triangular, downy and bent or recurved backwards, which is very characteristic of the family Rosaceae, which we've seen in the dog rose family. So this is the underneath of the flower, where we have 5 sepals. If we peer into the flower, we can see that there are between 20 and 40 stamens and 1 stigma, which gives rise to 6 ovaries beneath. And it is these ovaries that produce the seeds at the end of the season, and they are only approximately, as you can see from the scaling, about 2 millimeters in length, and they twist or spiral around each other. So once again, a quick recap: 5 oval petals, which are white or creamy white, 5 downward pointing triangular downy sepals, and 1 stigma, giving a rise to 6 ovaries. So that's the overall content of each individual 5-petaled flower, which is about 0.8 to 1 centimetres in diameter. So the flowers in each of these fluorescences are quite tiny by their nature. So, before you embark on your journey into the field, we recap on the features and characteristics which will enable you to identify and find it in the field. As always, we include a detailed botanical slide for those of you who may wish to study the plant further, and it may be stopped at any point for reference. Meadowsweet is a herbaceous perennial growing 60 to 120 centimetres in height. It has creamy white wispy flower heads which produce copious amounts of pollen but not nectar. It is an aquatic marginal of damp, shallow, wet water edges, rivers, streams, canals, bogs or marshes. And it's a member of the family Rosaceae, or the rose family, and can be seen between June and August. The plant consists of pleasantly fragranted, creamy white flowers in a terminal inflorescence. It has 5 petals, 5 sepals, which are downy, triangular and bent backwards, between 20 and 40 stamens, and has 1 stigma per ovary. They are between 6 and 10 ovaries, which are 1-celled, and give rise to the fruit later in autumn. The plant can be seen flowering between the months of June and September. Meadowsweet, a perennial, produces 6 to 10 fruits per flower. They are hairless and they do not open. They are twisted or spiraled together, and each fruit is circa 2 millimeters and is small. Seeds. Each fruit contains 2 seeds per fruit, which is not released. The leaves of Meadowsweet alternate up the stem either side and consist of a leaflet arrangement. They are 30 to centimeters in length, and they can be up to 5 pairs of leaflets on the main branch, with smaller leaflets between. There is a 3-lobed leaflet at the tip, and the leaves are dark green above, adaxially, or greyish below, abaxially, and have margins which are pointed, coarse teeth with finer teeth between. The pollination strategy of Meadowsweet is interesting insofar as it does not produce nectar. Instead, it produces copious amounts of pollen, attracting pollinators such as bees and hoverflies. This is in marked contrast to the Rosaceae of the early season in spring, such as hawthorn and blackthorn, which produces copious amounts of nectar, attracting the early spring bees. Finally, let's take a look at the common vernacular. Traditionally, the plant was used to flavour meads, meadsweet, and it was also used for its medicinal qualities, likely due to the high levels of salicylic acid, or aspirin, as mead wort. Meadowsweet was also used as a strewing herb due to its pleasant fragrance, where it was strewn on in rooms and in churches, and therefore often associated with church services or marriage. If you can unravel the meaning of Duluth, please leave a comment beneath the description. We'd love to hear your findings. The Latin binomial is much more straightforward, with the prefix Philipendula coming from the Latin phylum or thread and pendulus hanging, relating to the slender hanging roots or tubers. The Latin suffix ulmaria, meaning elm-like, likely pertains to the resemblance of those of elm leaves. So folks, let us soothe our aching feet with a nice cup of meadowsweet tea and allow the beauty of the plant to speak for itself. Well folks, that's all from me and our fragrant friend Meadowsweet, and once again thank you very much indeed for watching, and hope you can join me on the next episode. If you have liked or enjoyed this episode or found it interesting or educational, please like, share and subscribe to help this channel become successful. In the words of Maggie, our international symbol of floral appreciation, if you have a large nose, go outdoors and enjoy the scent of summer.